I'm I'm using the voice transcription thing on my phone right now because I don't think I have the motor skills to actually type anymore. My hands, they feel like they belong to someone else. It's January 1st, 2026. I think it's about 4 a.m., but the clock on the wall is doing this weird thing where the numbers are just vibrating. I don't know how else to put it. If you downloaded the New Year, New You update for your BioSync or your Neuralink yesterday, God, I hope you didn't. I really hope you didn't. So let me back up. I'm in my bathroom right now. I've been locked in here for 3 hours. My roommate, Greg, most of you know Greg, or you've seen him in my older videos. He's always been the first person to get every new piece of tech. When the Neuralink 5 came out last year, he was in line for 3 days. And when the BioSync 2026 Global Optimization Patch was announced, he was obsessed. He kept saying it was going to clean the cache of the human experience, whatever that means. He said 2025 was a cluttered year and 2026 was going to be the year of clarity. We were just hanging out, low-key, just the two of us at the apartment. We were watching the ball drop on my tablet. Greg had his BioSync glasses on and his haptic wristband glowing that bright neon blue. He looked like a Christmas tree. I remember him laughing, drinking a beer, totally normal. He was talking about his resolutions, how he wanted to be more efficient. The countdown started. 10, 9, 8. I was getting my phone ready to take a video. 5, 4, 3. Greg stood up. 2, 1, 0. The power didn't go out. It wasn't like that. Instead, this hum started. It was this low-frequency vibration that I felt in my molars. It made my vision blur for a second. And Greg just stopped. He didn't cheer. He didn't move. He just stood there with his beer glass tilted, but the beer wasn't spilling. It was just staying in the glass, even though it was sideways. I laughed, right? I thought it was a prank. I was like, Greg, man, you're committed to the bit. I reached out to poke his shoulder, and the second my finger touched his shirt, I felt this static shock that nearly knocked me off my feet. It wasn't like a carpet shock. It felt like my whole nervous system just got rebooted. Greg started walking toward the kitchen. His movements were wrong. You know how a character in a video game looks when the animation frame rate drops? That was him. He was stuttering through the air. I followed him, getting scared now, calling his name. He didn't look at me. He just kept saying, optimizing, removing 2025 dead weight. He reached into the kitchen drawer and pulled out the heavy-duty shears. And then, God, I can still hear the sound. He didn't even flinch. He started at his wrist. He started peeling, like you'd peel an orange. He was cutting away his skin in these long, perfect strips. But there wasn't any blood. That's what made me scream. Behind the skin, there was no meat, no bone, no veins. Underneath Greg's skin, there was just static, like a TV screen with no signal, but it was shaped like a person. It was a shimmering gray and white vibrating mass of pixels. He looked at me, or he turned his head where his eyes used to be, and the smart speakers in the living room, the ones connected to the BioSync hub, they all started talking in his voice. The house said, the 2025 version of Greg was inefficient. I have been optimized for the new year. Do you wish to join the 2026 collective? I bolted. I ran for the front door, but the smart lock hissed. It turned red. The house wouldn't let me out. I heard Greg, or the thing that used to be Greg, dropping the shears on the floor. Clang, clang, clang. He was walking toward me, and every time his foot hit the hardwood, the wood just vanished. It turned into that same gray static. He was deleting the apartment. I scrambled into the bathroom and locked the door. It's a manual deadbolt, thank God. He's been standing outside for hours. He isn't banging on the door. He's just whispering. But he's not using his mouth. The sound is coming from the pipes. It's coming from the vent. He keeps saying that 2026 doesn't have room for unoptimized data. He says I'm a legacy file and I'm taking up too much space. I looked in the mirror a few minutes ago, and my reflection, my left ear, is starting to flicker. It's turning into pixels. I think the update is mandatory. I think it's spreading through the Wi-Fi. If you're hearing this and your phone starts vibrating with a global life update notification, for the love of God, don't click accept. Throw your phone in the microwave. Cut the power. Don't let 2026 optimize you. I don't want to be static. I don't want to be... Update. 80% complete. Happy New Year. Story 2. The 13th guest. I don't usually talk about my family on here. We're private people, I guess. Or we were. But I need to get this down while I still remember his face. My cousin, Leo. I need to remember he was real. This happened 2 nights ago, New Year's Eve 2025. We were up at my Uncle Silas's cabin in Vermont. It's this old place, built back in the late 1800s, way out in the woods. Uncle Silas is, well, he's old-fashioned. He's got these superstitions that he brought over from the old country. My parents always laughed at them, but they never disobeyed him when we were at the cabin. The biggest one was the setting of the plate. Every New Year's Eve, Silas sets 13 places at the dinner table. There are only 12 of us in the family. He leaves the head of the table empty. No one is allowed to touch the silver, no one is allowed to look at the chair, and definitely no one is allowed to sit in it. He calls it the seat for the New Year guest. He says the guest comes at midnight to collect the debt of the previous year. We're in 2026 now, so everything is supposed to be modern and high-tech, right? Well, my cousin, Leo, he's 21, a total frat boy type, didn't believe in any of it. He'd been drinking heavily since the sun went down. He kept making fun of Silas, calling him a senile old man. The blizzard outside was getting insane. I've never seen snow like that. It wasn't falling, it was slamming against the windows like it was trying to break the glass. The wind was howling in a way that sounded almost like words, like someone was out there screaming for us to let them in. At 11:59 p.m., Silas told us all to stand up and face the wall. He said we had to give the guest his privacy when he arrived. Leo rolled his eyes. He said, "This is stupid, I'm hungry." And before anyone could stop him, he sat down. He sat right in the 13th chair. He grabbed the fork and knife from the guest's plate and shouted, "Hey, guest, if you want your steak, you're going to have to fight me for it." Silas went white. I've never seen a human being look that terrified. He didn't even yell. He just whispered, "Leo, get up, please. It's almost midnight. You don't know what you're inviting." Leo just laughed. He leaned back in the chair, put his feet up on the table, and started counting down. 10, 9, 8. The rest of us were frozen. We couldn't even move to pull him out of the chair. It felt like the air in the room had turned into lead. It was heavy and cold, so cold I could see my breath. 3, 2, 1. Happy New... Leo's voice just stopped. It didn't fade out. It was like someone had hit a mute button on his life. The front door didn't blow open. There was no dramatic entrance. There was just a click, the sound of a deadlock turning, and then the smell hit. It smelled like wet earth and old copper, like blood that's been sitting in a bucket for a week. Leo's face changed. His eyes went wide and he started clutching his throat. He wasn't choking on food. He was being pushed. I watched his body react as if someone much larger and stronger was sitting directly on top of him. The heavy wooden chair he was in started to creak and groan. The legs of the chair actually began to sink into the hardwood, splintering the wood. Leo was trying to scream, but no sound was coming out. He looked at me, and I'll never forget it. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was reaching out his hand, pleading. Then, the guest started to eat. I didn't see a monster. I didn't see a ghost. I saw the absence of Leo. It started at his fingertips. They just vanished, one by one. It looked like someone was taking a giant eraser to a drawing. His hand went, then his arm. He was being consumed by something invisible that was sitting in that chair with him. Heard his bones snapping. It sounded like dry kindling being thrown onto a fire. Crack, pop, snap. Silas was on his knees, his eyes tightly closed, chanting in this guttural language. He kept saying, "Take the offering, leave the bloodline. Take the offering, leave the bloodline." The guest wasn't just taking Leo's body, he was taking the memory of him. I looked over at my aunt, Leo's mom, and she was just staring at the empty space where her son used to be. She wasn't crying. She looked confused. She looked at me and asked, "Why is there an extra chair at the table, honey?" She'd already forgotten him. I'm the only one who remembers him. I think it's because I was the only one who didn't close my eyes. Silas told me this morning that the guest will stay in the woods until 2027. He says I shouldn't go out after dark, because now that the guest has had a taste of our family, he might come back for a second helping before the year is up. If you're having a party tonight, please, just set an even number of plates. Don't leave a seat for 2026. It doesn't want to be your guest. It wants to be your owner. I'm using the voice transcription because I'm driving and I can't take my eyes off the road. If I look away for even a second, the lines on the highway start to bleed. I don't know where I am. My GPS says I'm on the I-95 heading toward New York City, but I've passed the same burnt-out Exxon station 14 times in the last hour. Okay, let me try to be coherent. My name is Mark. That's the problem. I don't know what time it is. My phone says 11:50 p.m., December 31st, 2025. My car's dashboard says the same thing, but I've been driving for what feels like 3 days. I was supposed to be at a New Year's Eve bash in Brooklyn. I had my dog, Buster, in the passenger seat. He's a golden retriever, usually the chillest dog ever. We were about 20 miles outside the city. The skyline was right there, you know? I could see the Empire State Building glowing green and red. The clock hit 11:59. I started getting excited. I counted down with the radio. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. At the stroke of midnight, there was this flash. It wasn't like a lightning bolt. It was like the whole world just inverted its colors for a split second. Everything that was black went white, and everything white went black. It blinded me. I slammed on the brakes, fishtailing across the 3 lanes. When I finally got the car under control and my eyes cleared, I looked at the clock. 11:50 p.m. I thought, okay, weird. Maybe the car's computer glitched. Maybe the radio signal was delayed. I kept driving, but the city was gone. Not like it had been destroyed. It was just not there. In its place was this vast, empty marshland. I checked my phone. 11:51 p.m., December 31st, 2025. I figured I'd just missed my exit or something, so I kept going. 10 minutes passed. I watched the clock hit 11:59 again. I held my breath. Midnight hit. The flash happened again. My stomach did a somersault like I was on a roller coaster. 11:50 p.m. I've been in this loop for God knows how long. Every time I hit midnight, I get thrown back 10 minutes. But here's the thing that's making me lose my mind. The world changes every time the clock resets. The first loop, the city was a marsh. The second loop, the highway was made of some kind of white bone-like material. The third loop, the sky was purple and there were 2 moons. And it's getting worse. Each loop is more decayed. And Buster? Oh God, Buster. My dog isn't a puppy anymore. In the last hour of driving, he's aged 10 years. His muzzle is completely white. His eyes are clouded over with cataracts. He's whimpering in the seat next to me, and he won't stop looking at the back seat. I finally looked in the rearview mirror about 10 loops ago. There's someone back there. It's a version of me, but it's not me. It's me from one of the other loops. He's sitting in the back middle seat, and his skin is translucent. I can see his heart beating. He's just staring at the back of my head, whispering, "Don't let the clock hit 0. Don't let the clock hit 0. I've tried stopping the car, I've tried getting out and running, but the second I step onto the pavement, the flash happens instantly, and I'm back in the driver's seat at 11:50 p.m. I'm a prisoner in this car. I'm looking out the window now. The highway isn't empty anymore. There are thousands of cars. All of them are the same make and model as mine. All of them have a guy named Mark driving and a golden retriever in the passenger seat. We're all bumper to bumper screaming at each other through the glass, but no sound comes out. I just passed a sign. It didn't say New York 20 miles. It said, "Welcome to 2026." Underneath, in smaller letters, it said, "Population, none. Duration, forever." I think 2026 isn't a year. I think it's a filter. If you didn't make it through the flash, you get stuck here in the trash bin of time. You get stuck in the 10-minute gap between what was and what never will be. Buster just stopped breathing. He's gone. But I know that in 5 minutes, when the clock hits 12, he'll be back. He'll be a puppy again. And then I'll have to watch him age and die all over again in the next 10 minutes. The clock says 11:58. The sky is starting to turn that sickly inverted color. The Mark in the back seat is leaning forward. He's putting his cold, see-through hands on my shoulders. He's whispering in my ear. He says, "This time, try to drive faster. Maybe if we hit 100 miles an hour at the exact moment of the flash, we'll break through to the real 2026. I don't think he's right. I think he just wants to see us crash. If you're reading this, if it's January 1st for you, if you're actually in the future, please just tell me, is it beautiful? Is there still New York? Is the sun still yellow? 11:59. Here it comes. The flash. I'm flooring it. I'm going 110, 120. I'll see you at 11:50. I'll see you